All right, so welcome everybody to the December edition of the Text Teams Community Meeting. As always, I want to thank the DIR for their stalwart partnership on this. We got Mark Leavenworth on the line with us from the DIR. It's always tough when you're the new person, but he's the new Joy Hall Bryant. And so, thanks, Mark, for joining, and thanks as always for being a good partner on this community. Let's jump right into, okay, so as many of you know, we have and I was just speaking about the community interest list. So this is a place where you can sign yourself up to receive the invites to Text Teams Community, or if you want to sign up one of your coworkers, it is totally fine to forward the meeting request to other people. I was just speaking about that I'm going to be cleaning up the recurring meeting request. And so when the new monthly recurring meeting request comes out in the next couple of weeks for the year, the 2022 calendar year, if you forward it to somebody, I saw someone forward it to like a team alias earlier today, so that won't come through for me. So you may need to re-forward it. But all you have to do is open up your phone and shoot it at that QR code. I use Microsoft Forms to create the enrollment form, and you can generate this QR code, which will take you right to the form on a smartphone, or you can type in this shortened URL and it will take you there, and you can add yourself to the interest list. And if you're interested in, like if you change roles and you're no longer interested in being on attending this meeting and getting the invites, then you can remove yourself from the list as well. So thanks to everybody who has done that. We now, I just, was working on the spreadsheet, the spreadsheet last night of all the email addresses, and we have about 570 people who are signed up for this call. So it's there's just a lot of people that get this invite every month, and we usually end up somewhere in between 50 and 120 people that are attending. So thanks to everybody for attending. I didn't introduce myself. I apologize. So my name is Michael Kennedy, and I am the Modern Work Customer Success Manager for those of you who are new to the call. What that means is that my job is to help you use the software you're already paying for in your relationship with Microsoft, and specifically, I focus on Teams. And so this call is all about Teams, and but we do focus on other parts of Microsoft Office, which are supportive or integrated into Teams, like Microsoft Forms. And so today we have a good agenda here. We are gonna, this is the welcome part. We always spend just a few minutes here chatting at the beginning, and then just a little welcome to, and then we're going to talk about the latest GCC features. And in the intro to the call, James was saying, hey, I'm looking forward to hearing that. And so I have some good news and some bad news. So those of you who are IT admins and are always daunted by how many updates we have that come out all the time, I don't actually have any updates since the last meeting. And now it's only been like 3 weeks, but I'm going to show you where all of those updates, where we have a lot of great information about that. And then after that, and the majority of the call, we're going to have a really fun session with Tiffany Creuzbaur with the Texas Department of Transportation in our Stories from the Field section. And so Tiffany has volunteered to share some of the ways that she uses Teams inside her organization, and I'll do a little bit more of an introduction when we get to that section. And so we're actually going to use a demo environment just so she's not having to actually use her production TxDOT environment where you might see something you're not supposed to. But that's going to be really fun, and we want that to, one, she's going to share a lot of stuff with us, and then we really want to have some questions, and so some open discussion. So we'll have some open discussion afterward. But as always, we want you to jump in and ask questions as we go. So the first thing is the new features for Teams in GCC. So for those of you who are new to the call, GCC stands for the Government Community Cloud. There are multiple versions of Office 365. There's what we call the commercial cloud. And so TxDOT and Health and Human Services and a few other agencies here in town are on the commercial version, some because they signed up before we had a government version, and then others because they chose that because they didn't need some of the certifications that the government cloud has. But GCC is Government Community Cloud, and the vast majority of you are in a GCC tenant, is the way we say that, your Office 365 tenant. And so the challenge of being in GCC is that features come out, and Microsoft, in all of our blogs and on YouTube and all this stuff, everybody talks about these features that have gotten released. But sometimes, really, I should say almost more than not, the features don't release at the same time for GCC. And so it's really challenging as an administrator or an employee at a organization that uses GCC to know what is actually released or when it's coming to your environment. And so one of my peers has put together a document, and we keep it up to date regularly. The last time that we published it was November 15th, and it's usually more frequently, but as I said, we just haven't had that many releases over the last 2 weeks. But she keeps it continuously up to date with regard to what features have released in the last quarter, and then which ones are on the roadmap, and has some great information about where's the link to more information on the roadmap. If there is additional descriptions to the that feature, then that link to that is included. In fact, let me just click right here. I'm going to click on this, and what it'll do is it'll take you to a landing page, and I'm going to stop the PowerPoint live here, and I'll just share my screen with you because I talk about this guide, but I've never actually gone in and shown the guide. So when you click that link, you'll end up on this page, and Stacy Mildenberg is my friend and coworker who manages this document. And so all you have to do is click on View the Document, and it comes in as a PDF. So each quarter, we refresh this document, and so we have the Q2 archive, the Q3 archive, and then this is the Q4 document. We started it in Q1, so that's why, or in Q2 rather, of 2021, and so that's why there is no Q1 document. And it comes in as a PDF, and you can download it so that you can have it and use. So this is freely available. And you can use it however you see fit, screen captures and put it in your own presentations, whatever you'd like to do. And so you also have a link to some of the other community calls that go on. We have one around Health and Human Services, Public Safety and Justice. We have one called CUTE for Teams, Champions Using Teams Effectively, and then All Things Teams and Government. So you can feel free to sign up for those. These are sign up links for those calls. And then we have a whole section on Ship to GCC. And so there is updated guidance on view-only attendee. So using the different versions of Teams meetings, whether that's a Teams meeting, a live event, or coming up soon for GCC, we'll have the webinars, which has been released to the commercial sector for a little while. And webinars gives you the ability to have a registration page. It uses the same Teams meeting format and same controls as you have in a Teams meeting. And so it's a little bit easier to manage than a live event. And it has the full interactive capabilities like this with
Hey, Michael,
chat.
someone's requesting if you can put the link to this document in the chat, please.
Absolutely. So let me go grab that. Yeah, that way you can follow right along. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Sheila, getting this in here. And this is the shortened URL for it. Okay, let me just put that in once. Go. Okay, there you go, Sheila. And so the webinars is just a really great experience, and it can go up to 1,000 attendees for a fully interactive experience. But you have the ability to lock it down, really granular controls to hard mute your attendees, keep it so that they cannot go on video, and then during the middle of the meeting you can change that so people can come off of mute and can participate verbally. They can raise their hand in the meetings, and so the webinars is going to be coming in. I thought it was going to be released already to GCC. They just kind of found a couple of bugs when they started to roll it out, and so they rolled it back, and so they're continuing to work on that. So this is what you'll normally see in one of these releases. So if you're a Teams administrator, there's a thing called the Message Center where we send out alerts about what's coming and different information. This is the Message Center post. So if you are a traditional user and you don't have access to the admin or the Message Center, you won't be able to get to that link. And so what you can do is you can click on this link, and that will take you over to the roadmap, and it will have, here's this Teams breakout room presenter support. So GA stands for General Availability for October 2021. That was for, what you'll see here is worldwide means the commercial sector tenants. Standard multi-tenant also refers to commercial sector. And then right here where it says GCC, that's when it means that it's been released to GCC. So that's the kind of key thing you're looking for. Just so you know, things don't always release when we think they're going to release. And so sometimes you'll find that, like if you scroll way down in this document, you get into the pending, the things that have not released yet and are not available, it'll say to be released in July, and it's obviously past July, but sometimes things get delayed, and sometimes they get delayed pretty significantly. So just know that when it's really released, it will be in the release section. So that's that is this GCC feature communications guide, and then that's the roadmap. And now let's get back to our other part of our meeting here. Okay, let me go back to our slides. Can y'all let me know when you see the PowerPoint live?
Looks
You're good.
What's up?
All right. And it has this cool little thing where it says, do you want to resume? You want to go back to the slide that you were on before? And I really like that because that wasn't there before. And so you would come in and it would take you back to the beginning and you'd be stuck at the beginning. Excuse me. All right. So let me brag on Tiffany a little bit. And so this is a section that I like to call Stories from the Field. So Stories from the Field is when we visit with one of our customers and really find out how they're using Teams. And I've had the privilege of working with the TxDOT collaboration working group for going on about 1.5 years. They rolled out Teams back in May of 2020 and have had a really successful adoption of Teams, and it just continues to get better and better. As they've added new functionality, and sometimes, like a lot of times I'm working with IT, I'm working with the business groups, I'm working with business relationship managers who kind of manage the liaison relationship between IT and the business and what they need. But sometimes I come across someone that I like to refer to as a super user. And so Tiffany is one of those super users. And so she works as a management analyst in their strategic planning division. And so she gets to work on innovation and cost efficiency. And there's a specific team that does that. And she's certified in ProSci as a ProSci change practitioner. And I had that certification. It's a really cool certification about how do you help people adopt new ways of working. And she's just really passionate about Microsoft Teams and the technology. And so I invited her to join us. And she presented a session. She does a lot of training internally within TxDOT and just sharing how she works and helping people work more effectively. And so I invited her to join us and share a little bit about what she does and how she uses Teams. So Tiffany, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, so I wanted to start off. It's really a privilege to be here. I didn't know that a community like this existed, and I'm excited to join future meetings. And it's really funny how you find your flock pretty quickly when you love a platform, and I'm excited to be here. But I wanted to put a link in the chat of a Microsoft Form little poll that I wanted to get a understanding of everybody's use of the tool, so I can cater some of my presentation to that. And I'm going to show the results as they come in. If you guys could click on that link. Some of the questions on there is about what are the features that you use most in Microsoft Teams, rating your own proficiency with the tool, your agency's proficiency, what are some of the words that you would use to describe Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go down in my Zoom here. Okay, so it looks like in the lead, we've got the chat feature still in the lead. All the other features pretty close behind. In a short phrase, please describe what you like most. It's easy and clear, the video and chatting, the central hub that allows for many collaborative business functions. It's pretty intuitive, online meetings and calls. What do you dislike about Teams? Not much, that's good to hear. Unsure of best practices if it's for using it effectively. Lack of clarity around use of or modifying feels. Okay, so rate your proficiency. It looks like everybody here is around a 4, or average is 4.2, and your agency is behind that rating. Great. The file collaborating, ease of connecting with others, great communication tool, all in one. Collaboration with my team. The updates are maybe something to dislike. Nothing right now. Needs work with 360 video feeds. Oh, interesting. I don't know much about that. Okay, great. Let's give it just a couple more minutes.
And Tiffany, there's a question in the chat: agency's proficiency or use? Question mark.
Proficiency. I guess it could be use. Even though they're not the same.
That's a good question,
I'm
Casey.
sorry, I said the wrong thing. Use, not proficiency. Proficiency, your proficiency because you're a part of this community, and then your agency's use of Teams. Oh, I can see why that's confusing. Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 35 responses. Let's see what's in the leader here. The chat feature followed by video conferencing. And then teams and channels with calling and files and documents. Okay, well, I'm honestly shocked by these responses just because typically Microsoft Teams is viewed as just kind of your video conferencing and chat tool that is replacing or has replaced at your agency systems like WebEx or Zoom. So this is great to hear. I'm going to go ahead and go back into the team set of the results, and I'll get started. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my background first in relation to Microsoft Teams. I have been at TxDOT for about 6 years, and about 4.5 years ago, Microsoft Teams was a tool that I stumbled upon and really immediately began in using it to the full extent to manage my projects. I started sharing with other people that this is doing work the way I had always envisioned doing work efficiently and effectively. So, you know, the old way of doing work in an asynchronous way that involves, you know, email, one-on-one, it's one-way communication, even chatting one-on-one, saving files in shared drives, File Explorer, and so forth, or printing it out on paper, bringing it to a meeting, or taking notes, was just as not the way of the future state of a mobile hybrid working environment, a mobile workforce that uses technology in a way that doesn't require the time element to be everyone at one location all at the same time to do work. So this idea of two-way collaborating, live editing, whiteboard use, using other apps for live polling, or some of the other features on note gathering that's niched down directly to where the work occurs is one of the best and coolest things about Microsoft Teams. So unfortunately, a lot of people compartmentalize Microsoft Teams as just a video conferencing or chat tool, but really it has the ability to completely and radically transform the way that engagement, communication, communities, whether they be cross-functional communities of practice, or even just teams, how do they do work? Like I said, in that in a hybrid working environment or on the go. So one of the things that I love about Microsoft Teams and all of the products that integrate with it is that, it reduces the decision fatigue, this need to understand and be proficient in different platforms and having to go from one to the next and get everything into where you are. And this idea that you can integrate all of the different tools in one spot and still have the conversation going with others and capture things from a knowledge management standpoint. You can, do tasks and deliverables and all of those things that help you to get the work done in one spot. So it builds muscle memory over time. And because the Microsoft interface is very similar across all of their applications, it helps to the user teach themselves more about more applications the longer they spend inside the program. So I think that is really great over time to build maturity and capacity. And ultimately, you really want to humanize the technology. Oftentimes, we've all been read the emails or heard the launches of this new tool and all these features and its potential. But humanizing it, getting into the program, engaging with it, using all of its features to their fullest extent, and ultimately making the technology invisible helps to humanize it to where we're still connected, we're still performing effective and productive work, and we don't have to go outside of this system as often to capture all of that. So it helps to build culture and all of those good warm and fuzzy things. So also with Microsoft Teams shifting into the actual team and channels environment, has a backing, I'm sure you guys already know this, but has a backing of SharePoint and OneDrive. So, an Office 365 group comes with the shared email, the shared calendar, and has that SharePoint backing. And you can have Teams as a cherry on top of that, as an extension. Hey, we need more collaboration. We need to pull this Office 365 group into a team, and you can do so. Or the team can be a standalone. So going into this demo environment, I wanted to share some of the key functionality that I use on all of my projects, and also things that are helpful to understand. And then I'll get into what I call quick tips, which are little things that I would consider, they're not something you have to do now, or but they can really improve your day-to-day. They're small, but not things you usually learn early on when you're learning Teams and starting to use it. But things that you may have always wondered, is this feature here? Oh, that's kind of cool. Just fun stuff. And then at the end, we can open up for questions. So the first thing that I want to do is just orient and navigate a little bit about the Microsoft Teams environment. So as you guys know, there's the chat and the activities. And then in Teams, you have actual teams here. And then if you expand them, you have channels underneath. You can open up the membership of a team to be public, or you can restrict it and make it private and locked. And the membership in the channels below must include people from the team. And it can be any combination of those. It could be 2 of them, it could be all of them, it could be 5 of them, etc. So the idea of creating a team is that you have a group of people that are working around a common goal. So whether it be an actual project, with deliverables, or you have recurring work that you need to do with this group of people. There's also, things that are very large, maybe enterprise-wide initiatives may warrant a team, but you wouldn't want to create a team for something very temporary and something that's just maybe you and one other person. There are some other ways to do that. So inside the team we're going to be working in is the Mark8 project team, and the channel is the go-to-market plan. So whenever you are inside of the channel, there are breadcrumbs or tabs up top, which the first one is posts. And this is really helpful for those that aren't as active in the team, that need to catch up on conversations, maybe documents or meetings or things that are going on in the team. And this is one-stop shop for you to see everything. So even when conversations are going on about a specific file in the team or channel, it is posted here in posts. And then you have a files tab where you have your document library. We'll go into editing that in live time and some of the really cool features with comments, conversations, and catch-ups and some other things. And then one of my favorite features is the Wiki. So a Wiki is a knowledge capturing app that is really a pared down version of OneNote. So you have the ability to create chapters and sections. And what's brilliant about the Wiki is that as you're interviewing or researching or collaborating or collecting information and research, you can put it all in this one spot to capture it. And then you can create your white paper, your proposal, your presentation from this material, or you have it all right here for other people to read, to interact with and engage with. And you can have a really well built out Wiki to serve as a resource for people that are new to your team or new to your channel that need to come in and understand some key stuff instead of having to, necessarily, maybe there's training videos too, but they could read it or they can get themselves up on a subject matter or a project. And then by hitting the plus sign, you can add many other apps. And this one has, project roadmap. It's got some other applications that are just basic Microsoft documents that are added up here for convenience. But I believe that most of these you can see in files. So that's where I'll go next. Actually, I want to show some settings before we go into the actual document. So what's really cool is that it has backdoors to SharePoint, and then SharePoint has a backdoor to Teams. So if you have somebody that just prefers the environment of SharePoint, they want to look at the team in the SharePoint environment, it's very, very easy to get there with a click of a button. So when you go to the General tab of the team, you can click on the ellipsis in the top right and open in SharePoint. So I'm going to do that really quickly. And it opens up a web browser and you see the team in SharePoint. And so you're going to see the documents that are uploaded in the team and other apps that are added. There's even the Wiki. And if you want to go back to Teams, all you have to do is click the Teams icon here, and it will take you to a browser window and prompt you, if you have the desktop application, to go there. But I'm going to X out of it and just go to the one I already have up. So that's an easy way to kind of go back and forth if you have somebody that prefers that environment. And then some of the other functions on the team that I think are really great is looking at some of the settings. So the membership is pretty straightforward, the owners, the members, etc. But I really like the analytics and the tags, which I'll get into in just a second. But the analytics show your engagement. It shows your app mentions, your reactions, roles of different individuals. You can see things over time to see how much your team is coming to this place and engaging with the material. And I think that's really great, because if you have some of your team members that are doing things the old way, and you really make a big push to get everybody to use the tool more effectively, or you train on some features, you can actually see the better adoption, the more engagement through your insights within that team. And that's probably more helpful for very large teams or communities of practice, or super user groups or so forth. But it's still good information for somebody who might be managing a team. The tags are also another really cool feature. So if you have like here at TxDOT, we have divisions that are centralized here in Austin, and then we have districts. We have 25 districts all over the state. And in some of our teams, we have district and division members, and there may be a opportunity for you to target your communication directly to a subset of individuals within your team. And so using tags are a really quick and easy way to do that. So just for all intents and purposes, I'm going to do districts, and you can say for the district staff, blah, 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 blah. And then you can add the particular people from that team or from that team that need to be on that tag. And I'm going to add Adele and create it. So it works much like @mentions, to where once you create certain tags, you can tag particular populations of people, which is pretty cool. And once you go to a channel, there are also the ellipsis in the top right corner where you can customize notifications. You can get an email address, edit the channel, open in SharePoint like I showed, or even pin it. So it allows you some additional functions there. Okay, so the first, I think, major benefit of being in a channel is working on documents in live time, or not even in live time, at different times with the members of the channel. So I'm going to go ahead and open a file. And just click on it, and it opens right here in Teams. Sometimes if you have special formatting, you have to open in Desktop app where it looks really cattywampus here in Teams. And you get more functionality, like the typical Word functionality. It's the full features of functions, whereas here it's the pared down functions of Word, just like SharePoint has. But you can easily click Open in Desktop app. It opens the Word document just like you would normally see. And when you hit save, it saves it here instead of you having to save it on your desktop or somewhere else. So the first thing I want to share is the catch-up feature, which is, it's telling me here that Michael Kennedy and Adele Vance made changes since I last came in the document. So when you click that, it shows you that there were changes that were made. And then going over to the comments, I'm going to open both of them here. Comments and conversation are two features I use often. So the comment section is the difference between both of these features is that comments needs to be directed to a specific part of the document. So this is typical to what you might be used to in the actual kind of old school way, which is inserting a comment. But you can highlight that area and hit new comment, and it populates here. And you can @mention, and I'm going to @mention Adele. I need the resources and rates to be front and center. Too much bold and maybe some bullets. Okay. And I'm going to assign that to Adele to complete as I'm reviewing the document and hit send. Adele, or I'll pass it to you, Michael, so you can actually show in just a second when you get the email what it looks like when you are @mentioned and assigned something in the comment field. But what this allows as well is for, it's not a notification in your activity section here in Teams, because this is technically an assigned task. It shows up in Outlook and it says, you know, Megan assigned you a task in this document, and you can click right there and go to it. And it opens the document in Teams. You're able to see where it was in the document and exactly what you've been assigned to do. And then you can even reply and engage with the original person who assigned it. So there can be some clarifying questions asked, or there could be a, you know, I did it, it's done. You can mark it complete when you've done it. So this is, again, the comments are directed towards specific parts in the document. Of course, you could make comments generally over the whole record, but you may want to save that for the conversation section. So the conversation section, this section posts what is said here in the post section on the channel. That was one of the tabs at the top. So people will see that. They will not see the comments on the document. So these are more so for conversations about, you know, I don't know, we're getting close to the end and need to loop in communications, or, you know, this document needs to go through one level more of review or something along those lines. And what it does is when it posts it in the post section, it shows the document link and the conversation that was going on about it, and then people can click right there and go straight to the document if they were intrigued or needed to look at it or investigate anything further. I do want to mention that whenever this document is being edited, there's little bubbles that show up when someone's in the file with you. And so you can see their little face right here where my cursor's pointing, and you can see where they are in the record and as they're editing it. So this idea, again, of reducing the need for meetings to edit documents and removing that time factor and allowing the work to occur where it's best to occur, which is right in the document. And you're able to perform your edits and other people are able to do theirs without you having to share the meeting space. So there's a whole bunch of other features on here as far as, oh, I see that Adele is in the document, has the document open, and there's this really cool feature I have to share with you. It's called the editor, and it ranks your language. It ranks how good this document is. So you can go into this and say, I really want this to be formal, a formal document, but let's say I want it casual. Okay, it's a little bit lower on the casual scale. And it says, you know, refinements might be clarity, you know, formality, inclusiveness, and gives you information on ways that you can improve your corrections and improve the document, which I think is pretty cool. And then there is dictation, which is another cool feature. If you need to, you know, dictate, it records your voice, and you can, you know, have that as a record here with that document and so forth. So there's other features you can play around with. They're fairly straightforward, but really this idea is taking this document over time through different people on the team and conversing about it, completing deliverables and tasks, and using all those Microsoft features to make that happen. So Michael, I'll pause real quick if you wanted to share your screen and show what that looks like from the recipient end.
Looks like you're on mute, Michael.
I know. I like started talking. I was like, I'm on mute. So trying to navigate my mouse over there. Yeah, maybe you can, Tiffany, if you open back up the comments, then I replied back as Adele to your. Now, for some reason, I'm coming through as author, and I'm not coming through as Adele, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I needed to log out and log back in. But I commented back to her comment and let her know that I had cleaned up some of the formatting. And as you see, we're both working in the document at the same time. And what Tiffany said earlier about, you know, you can see that the section that the other person is working in. So I'm going to highlight one of the sections, and you'll be able to see that Adele is working in that section. And you can see that little cursor right up there by the Contoso team is indicating where Adele is working versus where Megan is working. And then what I also did is I added, if you scroll down some, Tiffany, is I added I took your advice and changed the formatting and added a table in down below.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and if I get into the table and I start editing the table, then you now see my cursor. And if you hover over that little, I think if you hover over that little blue dot next to the table, I think it'll actually say,
yep.
Yeah. And it's actually showing me as Michael Kennedy versus, those were the edits because I logged into it as Michael Kennedy. So that we kind of had multiple people working in the document at the same time.
Yeah.
And let me go here to.
And what's really great about it is as somebody has an idea for something like what just happened, he decided, you know, maybe this is better to put in a table. It doesn't need to wait until the very next meeting to say, oh, how does everybody think about this? It's right there to where you're really getting as much progress as you can together, especially if two people are in the document. They can kind of go back and forth and collaborate really in live time. And then, if somebody wants to log in at 10 o'clock at night because that's when they work, then they could do their work or whatever. So you have kind of that together at the same time, but different locations. And then you have different times and locations as well that this can still accommodate.
Yeah, so let me, I'll go ahead and share my screen and share as Tiffany, I was about to call you Megan, as Tiffany was saying, the view that I get, let's see, okay, are y'all seeing my screen, my Windows background?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm in a browser here as I'm logged in as Adele. You can see here's my profile, Adele, logged in. And so this is the email that I got that let me know that that Megan mentioned me, and at Adele Vance, I need the resources and rates to be front and center, too much bold and some bullets. And so it actually pulls in some of the content right there. And then I can either, I can add a comment. So like, check this out, this is super cool. Totally. We will get right on.
And this is what I was saying earlier about that backdoor, that idea of putting the work in different areas based on maybe where that person might be. So if he's in Outlook doing things, he's going to see that this task was assigned and can offer that quick comment or get that quick link. And maybe he doesn't have his Teams open to that channel and document. So it really puts it in front of his eyeballs in a different way and allows him some functionality right there in Outlook to still engage with it, which is really great.
Which to me, it's really crazy. And this is, we spoke, I think it was either last meeting or the meeting before that about the fluid components. And the fluid components are these, the example that we gave in the meeting was I set up that table inside of a chat in Teams. And I just said to a couple of my teammates, hey, what do you think is the best barbecue place? And they were filling out a table in a Teams chat live, but it wasn't like it was in the Teams chat. So it was like I had posted this table, but it was still a live, they call them fluid components. And so we're seeing more and more of that. And what you saw right here is I'm in Outlook, but it's not like your traditional email. A traditional email, you never would have been able to go in and put a comment inside of an email, and then you would have had to reply as an email. But now an email is not just an email. It has these fluid components embedded inside them that allow you to interact with the original authoring or the original content without actually having to go to it. Now, I put that comment in, and now maybe I'm back at my PC and I can actually go to the comment. Maybe I wouldn't have wanted to do that from my browser. I'm sorry, from my phone or my browser. But now I go to that the document itself, and I go to the comment, and it's going to take me open up the document, go straight to the comment, and give me the ability to then interact with the comment. And there's my comment back. Totally agree. We'll get right on it. So that it's just so much easier than it used to be, and I didn't have to hunt that document down. The link to the document was right there.
Yeah, and if you and I are in multiple teams and channels together, it may not have, at the time you were busy, or it's been several hours or even a day, and you may not remember what channel or what document it was that I was saying needed to happen. So this ability to go immediately, almost like a teleportation straight over to where you needed to be, is a great tool to use.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Was there anything else you wanted me to show, Tiffany, or you want me to go ahead and stop sharing my screen?
No, I think that's good. I started sharing again. So
perfect.
I took it.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so the next feature I wanted to highlight is channel meetings. So as you guys know, there are some of you that have different meeting functions through MS Teams, like webinar, live meetings, or just a regular meeting. And you can still have a regular meeting, but have it as a channel meeting. So as you may also already know, when you're inside of a team or channel, there's that Meet Now feature. And that's not what I wanted to talk about, which is this button here. It's the arrow beside it to where you can schedule a channel meeting specific to that channel and work you need to do. So let's click on that. And what happens here is you can add a channel, which would be final review of pricing structure document policy. We'll just name it that. And you don't have to add the attendees if you need everyone in your channel to attend. Everyone can attend, but if you need specific people that have to be in that meeting, which in this case I'm going to add Adele. And let's say it's going to happen just 3:55, and it's straightforward, just like a regular meeting schedule would happen through Teams, and it tags your project team and the channel, because what happens is when this meeting is scheduled, it will make a post inside the channel posts, so people can click on it. And later, after I hit submit on this, so I'll hit send right now. And later, so we'll go ahead and go to posts and I'll show you what happens. So here it is. So scheduled a meeting, final review of pricing structure policy. And when I'm going to open that up by clicking on it, which again, I don't have to go into the calendar app on the left to get there. I just click right in the post to see it. This is where I'm able to, went ahead and copied Microsoft Teams meeting information, but this is where I'm able to make, like the chat, I can add any documents here, any other details I can save and then, close it just like a regular meeting. But what's great is if we were to record the meeting, edit documents during the meeting, or there's any other thing that's a product of that meeting, once it occurs, it posts to the channel. So what's great is that people don't have to go and find it in their calendars. Like maybe somebody was sick suddenly or on vacation and they couldn't attend this meeting. It would be right there in the channel post so that they could watch the recording. And it is a necessary communication if it's a critical meeting that you need to have with the channel. So Michael, I think there was something you wanted to show on this one as well from the recipient side. Is that?
Let's see. Yeah, let me.
You're able to accept it.
You all have a hand up.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Please go ahead with your question.
So I was asking because I haven't tried it lately to see if this has changed, but with the channel meeting recordings, is it still the case that even though they post to the channel, the recordings, unlike the other channel meeting assets, don't go to the team storage, they go to the OneDrive?
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite. So that's a great question. I was just going to talk about that actually. So if you had the meeting, maybe just one-on-one, if me and Michael had met, then it would save to, it would not save to like a SharePoint group. Whereas if you have it in the channel, it would save to the files in that SharePoint environment for that channel.
Okay, yeah. Good, because we had a thing previously where even if you had a channel meeting, if you actually went to the get link on the recording, it was the OneDrive of the person who had hit record.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's the difference between the channel meeting and either just if you just create a meeting and you schedule it without making it a channel meeting, then the assets would be in OneDrive versus the assets being in SharePoint. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to join this that meeting that Tiffany created and invited me to. And so let's see, let me try not to create a feedback loop. And I'm joining it over here in my my Adele Vance.
There's also a question in the chat, Michael. Can you confirm for when our internal team meets with external users like vendors via Teams, that if we use the channel to schedule that meeting, we can use the chat feature amongst our internal team channel members, and those chat messages won't be viewable or accessible to the externals, anyone that is not a member of the channel?
Yes, I do believe that is correct. And when the meeting is over, if you have a regular scheduled meeting and they're using Teams and you're using Teams, then they would still have access to that meeting chat. Whereas, like you said, if you schedule it as a channel meeting, then they do not have access to the chat. I think they have access to the chat when they're in the meeting, but as soon as they leave the meeting, they don't. I don't, what you were saying earlier about them not having access to the chat during the meeting, that rings a bell. I can't remember if that's a for sure. So I apologize for not being able to remember for sure.
Are there
This is Aaron, they can't.
Are there external entities that are in the channel? Is that what you're asking? If they're
No.
members of the channel? Okay.
So the idea, the use case would be that internally within our organization and agency, we have a vast membership that they are in the channel, and then we from the channel schedule a meeting because we want to meet with an external vendor. But during the meeting, we want to possibly chat internally, but don't want that privy to the vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that clear? Okay.
Yes, it is, and I think that is correct. The way that you just stated that. What I'm doing right now over here on the side.
What's great about this is it shows your meeting now. So if somebody were to stumble upon it, oh man, I need to join that, or there's the conversation from the chat, or I think maybe it's just app mentions. I'm not actually sure about that. Great meeting. Like the decision to change the formatting. Okay, great. And then do you want to stop the recording and get out and maybe it'll post? I don't know. I set it up for maybe 30 minutes, so I don't know when that.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the, I went into the meeting and I started the recording, and then I stopped the recording. And then the last thing I'm going to do is, and Aaron Passons with HHS did confirm that is correct about the channel meeting, and that your external attendees do not have access to the chat during a channel meeting.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
It's
a great question. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's the recording right there. Great.
Right, but if on the recording, if you click on the 3 dots and go to Get Link, that's what I wanted to see, is where it's actually storing.
Yeah, and let me go ahead. I'm going to do one other thing here.
Let me pull over a browser. So let's see. I know we ran into this with a weekly sync recording that you did, Michael. Remember, I had to save it for internal. So it's saving on that SharePoint site. Shared document.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then what I also did is in the channel meeting. So let me clear I got way too many screens blocking my screens here. Okay, so I uploaded this document. And if you haven't read this document, this is an awesome document. I'll put a link to it in the chat. This was done in 2019. It's a total economic impact of Microsoft Teams. So it's pre-pandemic, but the kind of the total impact, I think, actually just gets bigger working in a hybrid environment. Really good analysis by Forrester there. So if you have anybody that's like, why would we do all of these things in Teams, and what would that save us money, or would, those kinds of things, that's what that focuses on. So I put that document, what I did is I uploaded it in the meeting in the chat. And so Tiffany, if you'll click on the files area now, what you'll see is that document is now in the files area. Let's see, where is it? Oh, there it is. You see the little marks coming right off of the total economic. Yeah. So no, a little bit lower. Yeah, there you go. So those little marks mean it's a new document. And so as Tiffany was saying, if you do it as a channel meeting, like for a project, then all the assets stay in there. The chat goes into the channel chat. And so anybody that doesn't get to attend the meeting, they don't have to try to go hunt things down. They just go back to the channel, and the recording's there. And there you go. There's the recording that I just did. So I just love that.
Yeah. So
keeping it all organized.
It saves it to posts. It saves it to files, saves it to SharePoint. So really you can find it anywhere if somebody needed to see it. Okay. And so now I'm getting to the point where I want to just share some really cool quick tips about different ways that you can use this to improve your efficiency. And the first one is task management. So let's go over here and see if is there a task app on here already? I don't want to add one if there is, but I can real quick. Let's just do it. So you can integrate tasks by planner and to-dos. So create a new plan. We'll just name it tasks for go to market. And you could post to the channel about this tab, or you could uncheck that. I'm just going to keep it and hit save. I really love tasks in Teams because it's very simple and fairly easy to just build out and to get some progress on deliverables. So let's say we want to add a task here and just say create shell of document, and I'm going to set a due date that in a week and a day, and I'm going to assign that to Adele, and I'm going to add another task, which is add financials from latest report, and I'm going to set a due date. You know, the same thing. I'll just assign that to Adele too, even though I would send that to maybe a financial analyst or something. And then let's say this would be the actual pricing structure Word document tasks. And this bucket would be the PowerPoint presentation to leadership. And that's where you can start to build out, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that. And you can add all kinds of different buckets. You have charting of your deliverables and your tasks. You've got schedules, so you can see deadlines, which is really great. And what's cool about this is that even if tasks was added as an app in a channel, you as a personal user have the ability to see all of your tasks from all your channels and all of your teams in the actual tasks app, which you can hit the ellipsis over here and hit tasks and see a bird's eye view of everything. So you can see here the shared plans, Mark Project 8 team, sales and marketing, and you can go to those particular tasks. You can see which ones are important, assigned to you, etc., and do some filtering up top and really manage your to-dos in a way that's across all of your projects. So I think that is a super great feature to use when you're dealing with actually producing work with a team instead of maybe just a community of practice where you know, there's just news blasts and feedback and, you know, best practices and wikis and so forth. So another feature that I really enjoy is rich text. So let's go to just Adele here. Do we have that? I'll just hit a new one, Adele. Just me and Adele. So let's say I am going to send a ton of information and some of it really needs to be organized a particular way. You can hit the edit here with the paintbrush and the A, or the pencil and the A, and that's going to open up your formatting. So it allows you to highlight or change the text color, allows you to bold and italicize, allows you to put into bullets or to use quotations or highlighting, etc. So, and even the size of the font. So if you're ever sending a lot of information and you need to organize it in a chat or even in a comment, you can do that inside the teams or channels. Anywhere you're communicating information that's in written form, you can use the rich text feature. Okay, so another thing which I don't know if all of you have is the webinar and live meetings. Webinars are great because you can customize, you could set up your custom registration and have your hosts that are going to present. So you may be the ultimate host, and then you've got your presenters, you invite them, and then you open up registration and send that link out to everybody to register. And you have some cool insights and analytics in being able to see, you know, what businesses are people coming from. Like if you're a sales agent and, you know, you needed to see where all of your prospects work, you can see all of that in the analytics based on the form information you customize on the registration. And then like Michael said earlier, inside of webinar, you've got the ability to kind of globally mute, and some of those features that you need to run really large webinars online. And then there's live events. And there's also breakout rooms, which can occur in more than just the webinar. So a regular meeting, you have that breakout room feature, really intuitive, a lot of those same features that WebEx has, and pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and webinars are not in GCC yet, but they are, they're coming. There have been a couple of underlying things that needed to be there first. And really that's the attendee and engagement report that that Tiffany was talking about that's available afterward. That needed to be added so that we could add the webinars, and it's just taking a little while to get out there.
Okay. Another really cool feature is the ability to name group text. So let's say you have a project team where it's you and a couple people, and you have an ongoing text, group text in the chat app, and you maybe have one of those people in a lot of your group chats, and you're going to see Adele, just like I was when I was looking for a chat between me and Adele. But what you would do is click on the chat and then click the pen button right next to the members' names. And this is where you would just say, 8 market team leads, and save. And it's going to show up over here as 8 market team leads. And, it's just a quick way visually to see who you need to get a hold of, fastest and quick. But then again, you could also have this conversation inside of a channel by using tags, but I believe that people can still see it. So if you needed it to be private, then this might be the best forum. The feature to reply directly to someone's chat is something I love to use, especially if you've got somebody you work with very closely and you're covering multiple topics or multiple projects. You can hit the ellipsis by hovering over a chat and hit reply. And you say, okay, thanks for clarifying. And it's going to show a carbon copy of the chat you reply to and your reply. So that's really great when, if you're looking back at stuff. So always think when you're communicating in here, okay, is this going to be easy in a vacuum for me to understand if I need to search this real quick and it takes me here? Or if I were to hit save this message and come back here, am I going to know what she said? Okay, thanks for clarifying to. So I would say that anything you need to give a specific or explicit answer to, using that reply feature is really great. Also, the app add-ons, we all know, by hitting the plus sign here, you get access to additional applications, and also here on the ellipsis. So really customizing your experience for your project team or your department team or your channel and team is really is enhanced by using those add-ons for the apps. Also, just a couple more.
Hey, Tiffany, I got one real quick for you as you were talking about when you are putting stuff into a chat and making it findable again. And so just click in the type a new message. No, I'm sorry. Go back to the chat between yes. you and Adele. There you go. And if you hit Control F when you're right there, then look what happens right up there at the top. So it opens up a find for words in this particular conversation. And so like if you type like clarifying, because we were talking about the word clarifying, like maybe you remember, I remember that she hit the word, clarifying, but that was like a month ago, and I don't want to scroll up and find that. Then it will take you right to those. And so when you hit return now, it's going to take you to the different places. So there's your results. And so, she mentioned it. And if you click that, then it'll take you right to that spot in the chat where that was mentioned, that saves my bacon all the time because we have very active chats at Microsoft.
Yeah, and you read my mind. I was going to /commands next, which I think is one of the coolest things of MS Teams. By using, and you could really be anywhere you're going just up to that search box, so you can be anywhere in the program. So you do /, and these are all your /commands. So this idea of, again, coming back to the same thing I've said, which is if you need to get somewhere quickly, and you don't want to go through all the different taxonomies of the files, or maybe you forgot what to do, this is a quick and easy way to get immediately where you need to get. So let's say I'm like, oh man, I forgot to do this one edit on a document. I'm going to do a / command and go to Files and hit Enter. And it's going to show the latest files that I've edited. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did that 33 minutes ago. I'm just going to click on it. So I didn't have to go to the channel or team. I didn't have to find it on SharePoint. I didn't have to go into the actual posts and search and scroll. I could have searched it, yes, but maybe I forgot exactly what it was named. But it took me immediately to the document. So what's really great about those / commands is they take you, again, they like teleport you straight where you need to go. I also love like the call feature. So you can hit call and it's going to show the people I engage with most, and I can literally click Adele and it's going to call her. Another cool one that I really like is the go-to, which is the team or channel that you want to go to. So let's say you have maybe you're on your phone and it's just easier to do / commands or not search through all your teams. But here we go. We're going straight to go-to-market plan, and I'm going to click on it and it's going to take me straight to that team. And so they're pretty intuitive, and they populate here when you just do the /. And you can even go down to your @ mentions, and you can see exactly where your name was @ mentioned and where it was. So maybe you just want to catch up on the combos going on in life, and so forth. So there's join, there's help, there's other ways to change your status to busy, away, offline, do not disturb, be right back, and so forth. So the / commands are really, I think, a game changer. And I believe one last thing, which is the Immersive Reader. I'm a big fan of this, and sometimes we're just done reading all the time, and we just need something to really focus, or maybe we're in a document and it's really technical work and it's the end of the day, or who knows, you just need it in a different way. If you were to click on the ellipsis on a chat or on a document, it'll open up the Immersive Reader. What's really great about this is that it reads it to you, but you can also have additional customization to where you see specifically certain words. You can break out your syllables for somebody who English may be your second language, or if that's what you prefer, or you want to feature verbs in red. So you're like, okay, those are actions that I need to do, or maybe nouns of like the people, whatever it is. And you can have some different, you can focus on one line at a time or a couple lines at a time. You can include a picture dictionary and choose translation, or even change the color of the document. If you don't like that bright white, you can go to the book theme, which is the kind of that aged look. You can increase the text size and change the font and so forth. So the picture dictionary is pretty cool. Let's see if you click hour, it shows you a visual. So it's great for people who are neurodivergent or need accommodations. What's really amazing about the Microsoft tools is that you can use it the way you need it without having to ask someone how to use it for your best optimization, or you don't have to disclose a special need in order to get this material in a way that's consumable for you and your project team, or even if you just need it in a different way. And so if you were to click play at the bottom, it would read it, and you could change the speed and everything. So I think Immersive Reader is also another really great feature of all Microsoft products, but a chat or a document that you need read to you is sometimes a good reprieve from a lot of reading through words. And Michael, I think that concludes my part of presentation.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany. If we could get a round of virtual applause for Tiffany. As you can see, when I said she's a super user, I meant it. Thank you, Tiffany, so much.
Thank you.
When Tiffany was presenting the other day on a call that I was on with TxDOT, and she was showing some of our collaboration working group some of these capabilities, there was like 3 things I learned during the call. It's like, I didn't know you could do that. So it was really cool. I was like, I know some people that would love to visit with you. So special thank you. If I would not get fired for sending you a gift, I would send you a thank you gift. Unfortunately, it is strictly forbidden to thank any of our government customers with monetary gifts. So you'll just receive my verbal thank you.
Thank you.
and gratitude. Yeah, so Marianne, to do the clapping, up at the top of your screen, actually we're seeing Tiffany's screen there. So Tiffany, will you hover over the raise hand?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
Let me get back in there.
And so when you click that, you can raise your hand, which is that first one right below, or you can use these different responses. These are called responses. And so you can, yeah. And when you do that, like when Tiffany does it, if you look up in the upper left-hand corner here, it actually shows up over her video. So when you have video turned on and you do one of those responses, it shows up over your video. Like if I do the clap hand right now, then you'll see.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I knew how to raise my hand, but I didn't know what all those other little guys.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
And then there are in the chat message, when you have a meeting open and you've got the conversation going, if you want to respond to someone's message, then you can use those same little kind of little emojis. So here's a cool little tip. In fact, here, let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen.
So yeah, and I've even used them there before. I've just never seen them float. Well, I've seen them float up. I just never knew how to do it.
Yeah. And so, okay, now what do I got going on here? There we go. Okay. Okay, are y'all seeing my screen? Okay.
Yes.
So when you're in a chat message, or like if you hover over somebody's like, here's your question, Marianne, then if I can click a heart and I can heart your question there, or as we mentioned earlier, I think even though in the Teams chat you don't have the ability to reply, if someone in GCC would look, if you right click on a message that someone has sent in this meetings chat, do you have the reply so that you can then say, here is how? And when you do that, it does. Do y'all have that in GCC right now?
Save this message or mark as unread.
Okay,
so that reminded me of something I want to share with them. Go ahead. So
the other thing that I wanted to show you, so sorry, I keep coming across these things. It's really hard because I have multiple customers that have commercial, and then we're in commercial, and then you and I have a GCC environment, but I don't live there, and so sometimes I forget what's live and what's not, which is why that document about when things are launching is so important. Let's try this one. So if you are in, you're about to type a message. If you hold down the Windows key, which is 2 over from your space bar, you hold down the Windows key and you hit the semicolon, then it will pop up. Now I'm on Windows 11, so yours may look a little bit different, but it pops up this little what we call a modal window, which gives you the ability to pick from a whole ton of, there's like 800 emojis now that are available for your responses. And then the thing that like and kind of a cool thing about it is that it remembers what you've used, so your frequent ones. And so I love to do these little fist bumps. So you put 2 little fist bumps in there like that, and it'll come out like that. Yep, and there's the gifts. And then again, I don't know if this is a Windows 11 feature, but you also now, like, here are different gifts. You've got these cow emoji. I don't even know how to say that properly, but these are using different little whizdings and things like that. These different fonts and symbols. So there's all this stuff that's now available, like right inside of there. All right, Tiffany, there was something else you were going to show.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Oh, wait, I think someone had a
couple,
question, or.
Yeah, I was going to answer some of those. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, quick question on that Windows semicolon. You said it tries to remember what you have. So if you use the fist bump, for example, it's going to come up by default with the fist bump?
Yeah, it'll kind of be in your like sort of like your frequently used emojis will be right here at the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thumbs up.
And great presentation, Tiffany.
Oh, thank you. I did want to mention real quick, I forgot to say this, there's a way to send a text or a chat with urgent or important status. So when you send it as important, so help, I need you to join a meeting in 10. You can hit this exclamation point and make it important, which means it'll just be marked as important. I'll go ahead and send it as important. It flags it red with the exclamation point, but really the cool feature is when something's urgent. So if you really need something to get in front of someone that's got a whole schedule, we're just going to type a bunch of rigmarole, and this here, you can make it urgent, and the recipient will be notified every 2 minutes for 20 minutes straight. So it's a good, cool way to ensure that if you need somebody to really see something, that the system automates that alert for you. And also, like he was saying, I was going to feature the GIFs, but there's custom memes that you can do under the emoji tab. You can, make some custom memes down here, which is a fun way to get engagement. And there's also ways down here that you have additional features. You can add additional applications. You can send praise to your team, which is part of that Viva Insights. Shows you the productivity of your meetings. Are you having effective meetings? Are you building in focus time? Are you can you do some maybe a virtual telecommute meditation or time to just, how are you feeling today? And really looking at that work-life balance part, but through the application of insights, which is really great. And then I wanted to answer one of the chats that I did see, which is how can you see the teams that you're an owner of? And that is by going to the actual teams here. And you go to, sorry, here we go. The settings down here, which is the gear on the teams. And this is where you can just filter. So you can see the active teams that you're a part of, but you can click on membership and it'll show you you're a member of these teams and then an owner of these. So that's a quick way of seeing, how many people are in them. Are they public or private? What's the description and so forth. So that's
another
just
cool thing
wanted
about
to
that
show
gear. It gives you a list of all of the teams, as Tiffany said, that you're a member of or that you're an owner of, and they're in alphabetical order. And
Yes.
so I rearrange the order of my teams over here on the left. Like if you grab, I don't know if you know about this, but if you grab one of those teams over here on the left, not the ones there, but the ones on this list, you can grab it and drag it, and you can change the order of the team. And so you can put it, you just move them around. Now, once you've done that, then sometimes it becomes difficult to find that team if you're a member of a lot of teams. And so clicking the gear, it gives you all of your teams in a list in alphabetical order, and you can search to try to find a team that you are a member of that's, like I'm a member of, I don't know, maybe 30 teams. And so, and you also, you can archive a team, you can hide it. And so and it's not really archiving it, you can hide it. And what will happen is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there will be a list of your hidden teams. So if something is, it's not something that you want to, leave the team, you don't want to do that, but you just don't want it clogging up your list of teams that are active, that's a great way to do it, is to hide it.
And also you could go even further and customize the notifications you receive from that team if it's something you don't really have to keep your ear to the ground on, but you still need to maintain membership of something. You can customize that you only get notifications for app mentions or for other particular forms of communication and not all the other stuff that comes with it. So there was a lot of chats. I think it would take more time for me to read through them. Is there somebody that just wants to speak and ask a question? I can show them real quick. Any questions from anybody? Okay, well, that's awesome.
I'm going to put.
So I do have a question.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can
go ahead.
So
Yeah.
I don't have the analytics at the top of my teams that you have. I was trying to take a picture of it to send it to you.
You have to be an owner to get the tags and the analytics. And I'm not sure about the apps, but I know that there's only a few tabs on here if you're just a member.
So I'm an owner,
Okay.
but I'm not admin rights. I mean, I am an owner on the team. You can see that when I hit the, come on. I think I've got everything locked up here. Come here.
It may have to do with the version of Teams. I'm not sure, actually.
Let me look and see if.
Are you in the channel or are you in the team?
So if I go to manage team, it shows, hold on, what's it show? Oh, look, there it is, under manage team. It's analytics.
Yeah, so you might have been in the channel.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. And one of the things that you can look at there is, if you don't mind clicking on the analytics there, Tiffany. Let me check and see if this has it. Will you scroll down a little bit for me? Yeah, so it gives you that engagement reports, replies, mentions. Oh, I was thinking of something else, a different type of report. What we'll find, especially if you're a Teams administrator, I know that some of the people on this call are Teams administrators, is that entry-level use of Teams is, as Tiffany said earlier, is they're kind of using it like Skype. So they're using it for chat, but they're not getting all of the capabilities of using channels. And so one of the ways when you're an administrator and you're looking at your usage reports that you can really differentiate how many people are really using the collaborative capabilities of Teams is how many channel messages people are sending. And so one of the analytics is chats, usage categories is chats, and the other is channel messages. Channel messages is when you have found that's a group of people that are really digging in and are actually using channels to organize their conversations as opposed to just using group chat.
Yeah, and that's what I was mentioning earlier is that you really want to be tracking your utilization on your project team because you know that if this is really where you want the documentation, the conversation, and the tasks to be centralized, then you can see the benefit of a big push if you make it to get everybody using the tool.
Yeah, Star, I saw your comment there. Your My Analytics. Are you talking about the usage reports inside of the Teams Admin Center, or
No,
else?
I'm talking about like I have a test team that I use for demos when I'm showing people like what type of stuff they can do with Teams. But that and also the actual teams that I belong to, I'll go and make a post in a channel, and then I'll go to either the team analytics or the channel analytics, not in the admin center within Teams itself, and look at like past 7 days, and it shows 0 posts.
Yeah, that may be something going on with your tenant, Star. So I would reach out to Natalie Burko and bring that to her attention. And it may just be, it's so weird, but I'm just amazed at how like a tenant, because it's this big, massive hive of all these tens of thousands of computers worldwide that run Office 365, and that one tenant can break. I don't understand how that works, but let her know, and we can check into that for you. And then I saw Stephanie had said, when is project operations rolling out to GCC? What are you referring to when you say project operations, if you don't mind asking or clarifying? And if you want to reach out to me, Stephanie, then feel free to send me an email. Oh, the project software for Teams. Oh, like using Microsoft
Project.
Yeah. I don't think
it's
Microsoft
there.
Project.
I mean, I've
integrated?
I've integrated it on a project and Visio. So it is a little clunky in here, but I believe that if you If your IT team has released that application for use in here, it's game.
And I'm looking because, again, Tiffany is in a commercial sector Office 365 tenant. I'm looking at, I mean, I have a GCC tenant set up as well, and I'm looking and I don't see project server. There's like Jira server is in there. And so, which is a kind of a project management software and software development software, but I'm not seeing like Microsoft project. I don't know if, let's see, let me click on the project management category.
Yeah, I just added it to the team. At least for, I don't know about the GCC, but here in the demo environment, you can add the project as an app.
There are a whole ton of project management softwares that are in GCC. I mean, there's like, I don't know, it's got to be 100 in this list. So you work with your administrators because they have to approve and turn on the different applications. If these are third party, that's a first party application. That's a Microsoft application. So that should be something that, or it might be something that they will be willing to turn on, or at least for a subgroup. Mm-hmm. Hey, we're actually a couple minutes over time. I want to say thank you to everybody that joined. As always, it's just been a great community meeting. And a special thank you to Tiffany for sharing so much of her expertise and her passion for teams with everybody. So thanks y'all. And everybody have a happy holiday break. If you get a break, I hope you're able to take some downtime and recharge and enjoy yourself. And we will see you in January.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.